dye my hair black and like try to look like Elvis all the time.
What's the best Elvis footage where you were really getting excited about? Like, so when you did America's Got Talent, do you think these shows sometimes get a bad rap? You were such an Elvis fan when you were a kid and you used to do like these Elvis impersonation shows. Did that make you cool, or were you like a total weirdo being this kid who was like so into Elvis?
Yeah, I was totally weird.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of separated the two. I wasn't, when I was a little kid and I first discovered who Elvis was, I was like serious about it. Like everybody knew I was the Elvis kid, and I'd dye my hair black and like try to look like Elvis all the time.
Yeah.
And then that was definitely the weird kid then. By high school, I was like, I had a normal kind of high school life, you know, my friend group and everything. And then the Elvis thing was just kind of like, oh, go off on the weekends and summertime. And
what's the best Elvis footage where you were really getting excited about? Like, was it the early days, or was it like the Vegas stuff? Like, what's the best Elvis footage?
Elvis footage? I mean, the best like quality stuff is from the 70s. I mean, you can watch like Aloha from Hawaii. 73 is great. That's the Way It Is probably one of my favorites. It's like Elvis 1970. It's when he's playing the International.
It's called That's the Way It Is?
That's the Way It Is, yeah.
What is that, like a concert? Is that
it's a culmination of concerts from 1970 when he's playing the International. So it's kind of his big Vegas comeback. And he's like super skinny. It was right after the 68 comeback special where he's in the black leather, kind of famous. A couple years after that, where he's playing his first like live show, string of live shows back in Vegas after, you know, not playing live for 10 years, which is wild, by the way.
Elvis didn't play live. Timeline? I even saw
Elvis didn't play live for about 10 years.
That's when he came
like
back to Vegas.
From like 58 to about 69. He played like one benefit concert in like Pearl Harbor or something like that in the 60s. But other than that, didn't play a single live show. And that was the prime of his life. Like he was 20, I mean, I guess he would have been, in his like late 20s, early 30s. Didn't play a show. Didn't play a live show all the way through his 20s.
So why is that the best footage for you? Is it just the most high quality footage?
Most high quality. He looks good. He's moving good. He's got the swagger. I wish there was more stuff from the 50s. I mean, because if there was more stuff, it'd be awesome.
What is the stuff from the 50s that you were watching when you were a kid? Like anything?
The TV specials mostly, like Ed Sullivan Show, and a lot of those, like, you know, TV shows he did in the 50s are decently good, but they're only a couple songs here and there, you know. But there's some good, like, kind of bootleg live footage stuff that you can kind of see, and they've tried to sync up some kind of audio to it, and it's very blurry, but you can kind of see the magic of like a live show Elvis in the 50s when it was like crazy, like pandemonium, you know.
That's what you see when in that footage from the 50s.
You kind of, you know, it's so, some of that stuff's so bootleg and blurry.
But what was it about him that you were so into, or still are into? Was it the music, or was it the fact that everyone was like fawning over him? Like, what was like?
I was just drawn. I mean, because I discovered Elvis through an Elvis impersonator when I was about 7 years old. Yeah. And I'd always heard during Christmas time, I would hear Blue Christmas come on the radio. Right. And I loved that song. I never really knew who sang it. I just loved Blue Christmas. And I would get so excited when Blue Christmas came on, all when I was a kid. And then we were out eating at a like burger joint in Arlington. And there was an Elvis impersonator there, this guy Carlton Hurdle. And I'm still friends with him. And he's like 6'8". He has the big jumpsuits. And I was just like, what is this? You know, 7-year-old me was like, what is going on? What is this? And I thought it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I went home. My mom's like, you know, hey, you know,
that's Elvis.
She like explained like, you know, that's kind of Elvis. You know, she showed me like real clips of Elvis when we got home, and because she had seen Elvis back in the day at the Houston Astrodome.
Your mom had?
Mm-hmm. She was a kid. She said she barely remembers it. I'm like, I saw Elvis. But
so when you did America's Got Talent on your audition, you made this really great point when you were like, Elvis and the Beatles had the Ed Sullivan Show. Like you just said, like you can watch Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show. And like, I feel like that was maybe just so expected back then. Like that's how you would break. And then today, do you think these shows sometimes get a bad rap, or like people don't get what they're really about?
Yes. Well, there's so much out there now. You know, that was the thing back in the day. That was all they had. And everybody would turn on their TVs, and everybody across the country had the Ed Sullivan Show on at a certain time.
Right.
And they were there, and they knew to go there to see new acts, new music. And it really, I mean, as far as I can tell, America's Got Talent, or really any of the kind of competition shows, are the only are that kind of thing.
The equivalent of
that today.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there who, are they're watching America's Got Talent at 8:00. That's like that's what they look forward to. So, and they know to go. They want to see, new acts. They want to feel like they see somebody break out and be a star. And to me, yeah, America's Got Talent especially does that, because they really. I mean, the thing with the AGT that did so well for me, as compared to maybe doing any of the other shows, was that I got to have, I got to play original song from the start. I could have my band up there, tell my story, and like, it was just a perfect opportunity for me because I was already, I had put in the work, and I was ready as an artist. I felt like I had an album ready to go and everything. It was a great launching platform for me.
Was it really Gene Simmons who convinced you to go on America's Got Talent?
It was Gene.
How'd you even get on the phone with Gene Simmons? Isn't that so funny?
My manager, Leslie Greif, is good friends with Gene. Leslie was the executive producer on Sun Records.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. That's how I met Leslie. His dad was a artist manager back in the day. It's like Jose Feliciano and Barry White and a bunch of acts. And Leslie grew up in that world. And I guess it just kind of became, eventually, I just kind of like Leslie, why don't you just manage me, And he's like, no, whatever, And, but anyways, Leslie's good friends with Gene. Leslie produced Family Jewels.
The TV show. Gene
the TV
Simmons
shows.
TV
Gene
show.
Simmons, Family Jewels. Yeah.
So you get on the phone with Gene Simmons, which to me is so goofy, because is there any musical similarities between you and Gene Simmons? Like, really?
He came out to a show one time we did in Vegas, and he just bought a place in Vegas, and me and Leslie went out, and he invited us out to go show him his place. And then we went to lunch. We had crepes. With a rock star. We go in this with Gene. They were, in like Las Vegas, like a little tiny little mom and pop crepe shop. Creperie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And here's Gene Simmons, rock star, coming in there, and we sat in there.
And what does he tell you?
We talk. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, that's all I've ever heard.
And very smart. And Gene's really the kind of genius.
I wasn't gonna make it, but you made it
behind like the branding of Kiss, because Kiss was one of the first, besides Elvis. Kiss was like the first branded band. Wait, and Elvis was the first one that had branded, like where you
buy the merch,
all the merch you could ever want. Like that was people wanted to buy. It didn't matter what it was, as long as it had Elvis's face on it, or as long as it had Kiss on it.
Right,
they're gonna buy whatever it is. I'll buy a set of headphones, Kiss headphones. Right. And Gene was they were one of the first ones to really do that. And then he's smart in that way, and you can tell musically he loves music. He's a big Ronnie Milsap fan. We talked some Ronnie Milsap. Yeah.
So wait. But I think when you were thinking about doing AGT, you got on a phone call with him, and you were like, I don't know if I should do this. Yeah. What do you think, Gene? And somehow he convinced you to do it. What did he say to you?